Hey everybody, Gary here with Jim's Music Center and the JMC Music Academy in sunny Tustin, California. I have the pleasure of sitting with today a good friend of mine, John Kopecky from Caro Topete Guitars. We have some fine instruments here that we sell at the store and thought it would be a nice opportunity since John was in the area for us to talk about these beautiful instruments and get it from the guy that really knows. John, thanks for making the trip here. Appreciate you being here.
My pleasure.
Yeah, tell me what you can about these. These are lovely guitars.
Well, these are all handmade guitars from solid wood made in a small shop in Guadalajara, Jalisco, and by Ernesto Caro, who's a master guitar luthier from the city of Paracho, Michoacan, designed by his partner Carlos Topete.
Oh, so there's the company name, I guess, right?
Exactly.
Caro Topete, I just realized that.
Exactly, and about 8 or 9 years ago, Ernesto and Carlos decided to experiment with the design of acoustic guitars. They started off by just a clean slate. They eliminated the sound hole. They replaced it with some, they call these boquitas, small
nice.
sound holes here.
Yeah.
And then an acoustic port at the side to allow the air to escape. But the result is that we have a very large top piece, a solid piece of wood that vibrates and produces a different range, frequency range, and also a very crisp volume. And a very pleasant sound.
Yeah, that is one thing I noticed when I was playing the instruments. I did notice that they're very loud and loud in a good way. Tons of projection, which can sometimes be an issue with nylon string guitars. Look at the back of them, it's just absolutely gorgeous, just beautiful. But I think you know too, I mean, I've played a lot of nylon string guitars in my life, both fingerstyle and pick style, and they can sometimes be, I'll call it mushy or squishy, where there isn't a ton of projection. And one of the first things that I noticed upon picking these up and playing them is that they had an immense amount of volume, but also a really great tone. Not bass heavy, not mid heavy, not too bright. And I noticed that there's a couple of different woods being used on a whole bunch of these. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe all the guitars are solid top, solid back, and solid sides. Is that correct?
Correct. All solid woods, no laminates. And in this particular model, the ES model, you have one with a cedar top. Mine is with an Engelmann spruce top. But they use a variant of Mexican rosewood called Palo Escrito for the backs and sides.
Palo Escrito.
Exactly.
Nice. Very nice.
Palo Escrito. And then the necks are all cedar as well. The fretboards are Cocobolo on these.
Just beautiful.
The construction uses like a Spanish heel construction in that the neck is actually one piece with the block inside.
Oh yeah, I can actually see that. I don't know if the camera will pick up this shot so well, but I'll sure do my best and try. So what he's referring to, see if I can do that, right where my finger's pointing, you see a brace coming down this way. If you follow the curve there, that's the heel of the neck, which is completely inside of there and part of it. It's not attached to the guitar like a, correct me if I'm wrong, but like a dove joint or something that you maybe normally see.
It's one solid piece of wood. And rather than to attach the neck to the body is built around the neck. And you actually have 5 pieces of wood, the first one being the neck, the second the top, the third the back, and then the side 4, and the other side is 5.
Right, because the two sides come together, right?
Yeah, they're all connected to that neck.
Wow.
So you have a nice integral transmission of vibration from the neck and the strings into the body of the guitar.
That would serve to make sense why there's so much wonderful projection. And you know, by the way, we're going to play these guitars later in the video. And you'll get to hear them. But right now, I just wanted to really hit a lot of these pitch points. I noticed also something a little bit different that I'm not used to seeing on these style guitars, which is kind of like a 2-part bridge, if you will, a bridge and tailpiece. Would you mind explaining that?
A dual bridge, and one of them actually attaches the strings to the guitar. The second one is floating, so that we have the ability to adjust the intonation on it.
Okay.
And moreover, it provides 2 different points for the transmission of the vibration from the strings to the top of the guitar.
Again, adding to that luminous thing that we're speaking with, that beautiful punchy volume that they have. All the models with the different kinds of woods, that's one property that's definitely very ever so present. And then the headstock is a bit unique as well.
And all the headstocks feature kind of an open design. You can see they're open all the way. And I'm not sure if you can pick this up, but that also aids in the transmission of the vibrations from the strings from this part of the instrument down to the body of the guitar.
Yeah, if you've ever knocked on I'll call it knocking, if you've ever knocked on a headstock like John was just doing a moment ago, where it's a solid headstock, It doesn't have a very bell-like response, and there's not a lot of vibrance going on in the guitar. I realize you're not playing guitars with us at this moment, but even against your chest or against your belly, if you will, they just purr. Is the only way I can really describe it. And it's just a very wonderful feeling. It's a give and take. You play the instrument and you're immediately getting something back from it, which is super nice.
I would agree.
Yeah, no, that's what's really great. And you mentioned the bridge thing like that. Intonation, another thing. If any of you out there have played nylon string guitars, that's one of the things that can kind of suffer a lot of times. Sometimes they can be a bear to intonate, and as they age and tops move and the guitars sort of come into their own, if you don't have that, you have to compensate the saddle, and a lot of times that's not enough.
Right.
And so this is a wonderful thing to be able to literally move that bridge around, sort of like an arch top guitar would be. Of course, these are flat tops, but
Exactly.
that design is sort of akin to something like that.
Also, Gary, I'd like to point out that these guitars are all built with truss rods so that you can actually adjust the relief as climate conditions change and string tension, etc. So
And that's another huge big thing, again, for any of you out there watching this video or listening. Usually a classical style guitar or a nylon style guitar like this may not have a truss rod. Some do, some don't. The real traditional sort of mentality is such that they don't, which I've never really completely agreed with, because just as John mentioned, you're living in a different place, climates change. If you're a professional musician and you're touring or traveling, this is huge, because those will affect the guitar. And so instead of having to struggle in a certain kind of condition and have to perform in a night and your action seems to be riding rather high, you have the ability to take care of that really easily just by taking off the plate over here and adjusting the truss rod as you would with an electric guitar or any other guitar you might be familiar with.
exactly.
Yeah. So I guess there's not really too much left to say. I mean, we could go on forever, of course, and you can go on with more finer points. But I guess for our viewers, John, what is the approximate, like, say, price point, maybe the low side and the high side? Because I know there's a lot of different models.
Well, this is our mid-range model, and the retail price on this is $12.95.
Wow, it's very respectable for a hand-built solid wood guitar.
Solid wood guitar.
Man.
Another aspect of it is that by eliminating the sound hole, you have a very nice, modern, contemporary design.
Yes, aesthetically, it is quite nice.
Beautiful finish.
Yeah, and so that's a midpoint one,
Yeah,
right?
this would
And
be
you
a
have a
midpoint.
higher end part as well, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, the higher end point is the MX model, and that's kind of $3,800. That's a custom item.
But it's still, once again, a handmade custom instrument with all solid woods. That's very much akin to the universal marketplace, if you will.
Yeah, exactly. And then we also have a lower end model.
Would that be this way over here by chance?
Sure would be.
Yeah, I can grab that for you.
Yeah.
That's a nice one too. Look at the back on that. Wow, very pretty.
And so again, this guitar is all solid wood, hand built. Difference being is that instead of using Apollo Escrito for the sides and for the back, this is using Sapelli, which is a type of a mahogany.
Yeah,
Again,
other companies, other guitar companies also use that too, yes.
Cedar neck, the fretboard on this, I believe, is rosewood, and again, the dual bridges, the open headstock, truss rod.
Very nice. Quality tuners too. I should mention that. I'm not sure where they are, where they come from, but they feel really good. It definitely allows the instrument to be a very good tune. The ratio seems very nice on them. One thing I noticed, I guess, different, and I should have asked you about this, but I noticed on here we have a little bit of like an armrest kind of situation. Do all of them have that? Some of them
that would be on the professional grade ES models,
okay,
like yours.
Yes.
Or
when he says mine, boy, I wish it was mine.
Oh yeah, like the one that you're. The one that you'd like to have.
There you go. Yeah. That's the right way to say it.
But on those models and anything more expensive, they would have
excellent.
The armrest.
Yeah, that's really nice. That's super nice. A little bit more angle keeps you off the body too, and allows that top to even resonate more, so your arm is not really against it.
Exactly.
Which is a beautiful feature. These are all little subtle things, but again, the price points that John's referring to, and it being a solid wood guitar and all handmade. I mean, these are some amazing things. You'd be challenged to find this from some other makers at a price point that wouldn't even come close to this. So without further ado, I guess we're going to take some time and do a little playing if we can and enjoy each other's company. Is there anything else that you'd like to add before we go?
Gary, I think we've covered pretty much everything. So,
excellent. Yeah. Excellent. All right.